This video will cover the basics of how to read drum grids. Drum grids are a kind of notation that we use in music, and they tell you how to play a rhythm and which particular drums you need to hit. First of all, let's have a look at the three different types of drums, the main different types of drums that you're going to use. We've got the kick drum, the snare drum and the hi-hat. The kick drum sounds like this. The snare drum sounds like this. And the hi-hat sounds like this. You can see that the kick drum you play with your right foot by hitting this pedal here. The snare drum you would hit with a stick, and the hi-hat you would hit with another stick. When you're playing the hi-hat, it's important to put your left foot on this pedal and keep it pressed down. Let's have a look at a drum grid with some music written on it. The first thing to look at is the beats. We've got 4 beats on this grid here. When you're playing the drums, what you want to do is count those beats in your head and continue to count them. Just repeat as you're playing and reading the grid. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you need to count out loud at first, that's fine, but you want to get to the point where you're just counting them in your head. Now you can see here that we've got a hi-hat written on the top line, and a hi-hat is above each beat. So that's telling you that when you're counting your beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to hit the hi-hat on each beat. That would sound like this. Have a listen, see if you can read the grid as you are hearing it. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This next rhythm grid, we can see we've added another drum. We've got the kick drum now, so it's still the hi-hat on each of the beats at the top, but now you're putting an extra drum in on beats 1 and 3. You're going to use the kick drum. This is how it would sound. It gets a bit more complicated now because there's another drum in here. See if you can follow it as you're listening. 1, 2, 3, 4. On this one, we've now added the snare drum in. So the top line is the hi-hat, the middle line is the snare, and the bottom line is the kick drum. Have a look which drums are playing on which beat. So we can see the hi-hat is still on each beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. The kick drum is in 1 and 3, but now the snare drum is on 2 and 4. It gets quite complicated now. We've got 3 different drums we've got to play. So have a listen. Follow the drum grid as you are hearing it, see if you can keep up with it. The final thing to look at for now are the half beats. If you look at the top here, the hi-hat, we've now got a hi-hat symbol in every box on the grid. What this is telling you to do is, as well as playing on the main beats, 1, 2, 3 and 4, we've got these half beats, which we look at this little plus symbol here. The way you count it is like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Every time you say an and, that's a half beat. Have a listen how this sounds, read the grid as you're hearing it, see if you can keep up with it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that covers the basics of how to read a drum grid.